I got it. Okay, so this permutation, for those who was absent yesterday, this is the rule that we use. So thank you for those who've done it. It's look okay for the one who did it, the one who didn't do it. If you're not sure what to do, here's the rule. We use n factorial over n minus r factorial. That's the rule that we used yesterday. And the first value, 7, is n, and the second value, which is r. Okay, so what we need to do, we just plug it in to the function. So this could be 7 factorial over n minus r, which is 7 minus 4, and then factorial. A lot of you, when you do this, you miss the factorial. That's the problem, right? Make sure that you have that. Okay, thank you, Anika, sorry. So right now, this is going to be 7 factorial over 3 factorial. Yesterday, I told you if you have a graphing calculator, and some of you was like, Miss Wen, give me a minute. Let me grab my calculator. And that's what you're going to type in, which is great, okay? There is another option that you can do if you don't have the graphing calculator and you have the computer in front of you. So what you can do, go to decimal. I'm going to show you another way to do it. So go to decimal, right? Type in the page, decimal. D-E-S-M-O-S. So give you a few seconds. Go ahead and open a new tab. Or you can use your cell phone and follow along with me as well. You can go to Safari or Google on your cell phone and you can look at the Chromebooks. You can follow along as well. Okay, so go to decimal, click on graphing calculator. You don't have to log in, you don't have to create an account. You can log in and you should be able to do this. So in here, when you typed it in, okay, type in exactly what we have. So this one is 7 factorial over 3, right? So what you're going to do, we're going to type in exactly what we have in the decimal. So in here, in this box, you put it in. I will type in 7, and I will type in that exclamation point, right? Divide. What do I divide? I forgot. 3? Okay. So I will divide by 3. Sorry, that's not what I want. So I'm going to go down, and that would be 3 factorial. So I type in exactly what I have. And then now look over here. If you look here, okay, you see the A40 is popped up on the side. So that will give you the answers. All right, so that's another way for you to figure out without you have to use John, I'm going to give you the link to the PDF as well, okay? So that would be the answer without you type in the calculator. Honestly, for these problems, I kind of like decimal better because I can type it in versus the graphing calculator. You have to go through many options, many buttons in order for you to get there. Okay, so I will use decimal. Since you online anyway, you in front of the computer, you have the screen in front of you, that will work. Okay, so that's what we did yesterday. Number 10, same thing. This is n, this is r. So n is 6 factorial over n minus r. 6 factorial over 0 factorial. I will put in my calculator. Same thing, right? 6. If you cannot find the factorial on your screen, you want to let me know. You can share your screen, and then I can take a look to see what is not there. So put in 0. And then there you go. You look on the side right here, it says 720, right? The number, the answer is right there for you. So that would be 720. And I think most of you got it, except for some of you didn't do it. As some of you was like, I was absent yesterday. I didn't know what to do. That's the only thing that right now, I'm just go over. So that should help, okay? Question for me on these two problems, is this something that we need more example? How you feel about this?
The questions 11 and 12, that doesn't relate to what we're doing right now, right?
That
We
is,
didn't have to do that.
I think we started it yesterday, but we didn't completely get through all of them. So that's why I was like, if you remember sort of what we started it yesterday, that's fine. If not, it's okay. So I just say 9 and 10. What I'm going to do right now, I'm going to do an example for 11 and 12, and then you can do that later. Okay. This is what I want to go over now. Okay. We didn't do this yesterday, correct? I have 3 different classes, and now I don't know where I stopped at. Did we do this screen?
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure we only did like that word problem with the
Okay.
tutorials. That's it.
All right, cool. I feel like I stopped at different places yesterday, so I'm like, okay, cool. Thank you, Joseph. Thank you, Anika. So look in here. This one will be different than what we just did. The one we did is when you have the total and you have the same types. Right? You have the same types of everything. Like you have the same in advisory, you have all boys or all girls, right? The one that we will work on, which is the letters, and these are when you have different types, and we're going to use a different formula. It's not too bad. It's actually simple, but you just have to kind of bear with me for the next couple of examples, and that should help. So here's this one. This is when you have, it's called the non-distinguished. Okay, this is when you have different types. Okay, and here you're going to use this, whoops, and factorial, and 1 factorial, and 2. This is when you have many types, and what you do is you're going to figure out how many for each type, and then you find the factorial for each. So here's all the steps. I'm going to show you like the long way, like every single step that you should take for the first 2 problems, just so that you understand why we do it, and then we do some more practice. We can kind of cut down the step later. So just bear with us, all right? So step number 1, I need to find the total letters. So in here, I'm counting. If I count all the letters, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have 8 letters, right? Now what I would do, that's the 8 factorial. This would be in the top. The bottom is the types. So I'm looking here, the types I have is we have different letters. So I'm going to count how many letters of each. So for T, if I look at T, I have only 1 letter. Look at H, I have only 1. For the I, I'm counting, I have 2 I's. So I listed out I have 2. N, if I'm counting, I have 2 N's. Then I look at K, I have 1 K and then 1 G. I list every single letter that I have. I'm counting how many of each I listed out. And this is how I'm going to have my answer. I'm going to put them together. This is how I solve this problem. N factorial over in here, I'm just going to list out every single thing that I have. So the one that I listed here, that would be the factorial. So 1 factorial. I go to the H, which is another 1 factorial. Then I go to I, which is 2. Then I go to N, which is 2. K, make the line a little bit longer, and then G, which is 1. Okay. So that's how I set it up for this problem. So this is different than what we did yesterday a little bit. Question for me so far on like those numbers. Are we okay with how I got those numbers? Okay. If you're going to use your graphing calculator, if you type this into your calculator, make sure that you put those in parentheses, the denominator, all of these numbers in parentheses, okay? If you don't put in parentheses, it's going to give you something really strange. But like I said, I'm going to refer to use decimal in this case because it's easier and faster for me to type it in. So I will go to decimal. I'm going to type in what I have and see what is my answers. Okay, so I can do, in here, I'm going to start with 8 factorial. When you click on divide, now I'm going to listen. I forgot how many numbers I have, so I'm going to go back. 1, 1, 2, 2, 1, 1. Okay, so 1 factorial. That's not what I want. I want it down here in the bottom. So 1 factorial, another 1, 2, another 2, and then I believe it's 1, 1. Okay, so in here, I'm gonna zoom in a little bit so you can see on the sides, when you typed it in, it will give you the answer right here in the bottom. So you don't have to worry about it. Questions for me? So this one different than what we did, and it's still permutation, but because we have different letters, so the denominator is going to be different. We cannot just subtract the whole thing from the total anymore because we have different letters. They're not the same. Okay. So wait, 10080. So the answer for this one is 10,080. Not too bad, right? It's not as easy as the other one that we did yesterday, but this one is not too bad. So in here, we're going to look at this one. We're going to do the same thing. I'm going to find the total. How many letters I have total? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now I will look in here. B, I have 1 B. L, I have 1. O, so I'm cross out what I already used. So O, I have 2. S, I have 2. Then M, which is 1. Now it's just a matter of me put them together. So 7 factorial. Then in here, I can just list those out on the denominator. Okay, so this will go here. Now, for the ones, you don't have to list it out. Notice over here, I listed out just to show you that's what I would do. It's correct, but because 1 factorial is just going to be 1. No need to list it out. You don't want to, you don't have to. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to list these two factorial and 2 factorial. That way I'm going to save some space and save some time, type in some extra number that I don't need. But if you put it in, it's not going to change anything. It's not wrong. It's actually correct. So that is why I'm only put 2 factorial and 2 factorial. These, you don't have to list them in. It's okay to put them in, but you don't have to because it's not going to change anything. Okay. So decimal, I'm going to go to decimal, typed it in. 7 factorial over 2 factorial and another 2. So give me 1260. So I would put in here 1260. Questions for me?
Wait,
Yes.
yeah, why wouldn't you put the 1?
Because it's just the same when you divide it or when you multiply it, it's not going to change the total. So you totally put them in. It's not wrong, right? But you don't have to because look on the first problem I did. It's just too many numbers to list out that you don't have to.
Okay,
yeah. Yeah, okay. But you want to list it out, it's totally fine. So let's do another one. Let's look at 12. Number 12. Again, I have n 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? In here, look for number 12. Do you see any letters that repeated it? We have P, we have L, U, N, D, E, R. Do you have anything that repeated? No. So when you list these out, all of these is just 1, right? Do you have to list these out? No, Miss Wynn I'm not being silly. I just list these out so you can see how I got the number and denominator. But when you get good with these problems, you don't have, oops, that's not the color that I want. You don't have to list those out. You can just count. But if you list them out, it will make sure that you don't make the mistake. That's all. Okay. So I'm going to do this. It's going to be 7 factorial over. Since all of these is 1, you can list all of them out, or you don't have to, and you can just say 1 because it's not going to change anything. So this problem is pretty much 7 factorial, which I've been doing this problem like 7 factorial is 5040. That's what the same number that we've been doing the last 2 days. So it's stuck in my head for that number for some reason. But you can list all of them out, right? You don't have to, but you could. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you can list 7 of them out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Or you don't have to list anything at all. Okay. So in here you can just do 7 factorial. That would be fine. All right, here's a question. Do you feel like I need to do another one? Or you was like, I'm ready, I can do the practice now, and Miss Wynn, you can stop talking. Another example, or you are ready to do the practice?
I think practice.
You're gonna do practice? Okay. Then what we're gonna do, I'm gonna move to the next screen, which is right here, okay? And we're gonna spend the next 7 minutes to work on these 4 problems. Let me pause. I don't have to record.